Hi everyone, I am Dr. Anisha and welcome to my channel. Today I shall be discussing with you the dental topics of the BDS curriculum. But before starting the discussion, I would like you to kindly subscribe my channel for further videos. We'll start with our first subject, which is volatile but interesting, that is oral pathology, which we study in our third year. And the first chapter which we are going to cover is developmental disturbances of oral and paraoral structures. In developmental disturbances of oral and paraoral structures, we will cover firstly the developmental disturbances of jaw. In this topic, I will be covering agnathia, micrognathia, macrognathia, mandibulofacial dysostosis, facial hemihypertrophy, and lastly, facial hemiatrophy. So starting with agnathia, which is also known as otocephaly and holoprosencephaly, आप अगर इस वर्ड को स्प्लिट करेंगे तो agnathia is basically formed by A and gnathia, right? तो A is your absence and gnathia is your jaw. तो इस कंडीशन में you will basically see complete or partial absence of jaw. The next portion is it can either involve maxilla or mandible. Okay. Thirdly, the cause. What is the cause of agnathia? The cause is basically failure of migration of neural crest mesenchyme into maxillary prominence when at 4th or 5th week of intrauterine life. जब इंट्रायूट्रीन लाइफ में मैक्सिला या मैंडिबल का डेवलपमेंट हो रहा होता है तो द फीटस नीड्स न्यूरल क्रेस्ट मेसेनकाइमल सेल्स फॉर द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ मैक्सिला एंड मैंडिबल एंड उस टाइम पे जब न्यूरल क्रेस्ट मेसेनकाइमल सेल्स का फेलियर होगा, माइग्रेट करने में वो फेल कर जाएगा, तब देयर विल बी एन अनोमली व्हिच इज नोन एज agnathia, राइट? सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट agnathia. Coming to our second topic, which is micrognathia. अब इस वर्ड को अगर आप स्प्लिट करेंगे तो it will split into micro and gnathia, right? Micro is small and gnathia is jaw. तो जब jaw का size small होगा with respect to other jaw, the condition will be known as micrognathia, right? तो बेसिकली माइक्रोग्नाथिया जो है वो हम दो तरीके का क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं. पहला कंप्लीट कंजेनाइटल, दैट मीन्स कंप्लीटली कंजेनाइटल, और इट कैन बी एक्वायर्ड, राइट? तो कंजेनाइटल इज बेसिकली बाय बर्थ. अगर बाय बर्थ ही ड्यू टू सम genetic disorder or any syndrome, agar the jaws are small in size, then the condition will be known as your congenital micrognathia. And when I talk about acquired micrognathia, acquired is basically seen postnatally and it can be due to any kind of trauma, any disturbances of development of TMJ or any kind of accident, right? Now, it can also be classified as true or pseudo. Alright? Now, true is, it is truly a kind of micrognathia in which there is a small jaw with respect to other. Now, what is pseudo micrognathia? It is very interesting that it gives an illusion sometimes where both the jaws are actually normal in size, but due to the defect in position or any difference of position of the jaws, it appears to be smaller in size with respect to the other. See, it's very simple. अगर किसी patient का both the jaws are in different proportion of position, right? एक जॉ दूसरी जॉ से थोड़ा सा पीछे है या फिर थोड़ा सा आगे है, तो it will give an illusion of micrognathia. It is not actually micrognathia, but due to the problem in position of the jaws, it gives an illusion of micrognathia. Is that okay? Now, coming to the clinical features, whenever we study an anomaly, we always write about clinical feature of the anomaly, right? So, the clinical feature of micrognathia will be, firstly, retrusion of jaw. Secondly, there will be depressed chin button if it involves mandible in any way. Thirdly, there will be steep mandibular angle, right? So this will be your clinical feature for micrognathia. Now in micrognathia, I will be discussing a very important syndrome, that is Pierre-Robin syndrome. Alright? This is very important. Pierre-Robin syndrome is basically a triad of syndromes. Triad of clinical features, which include obviously micrognathia of mandible, firstly. Now your second sign will be glossoptosis, and your third finding will always be cleft palate. Alright? And all these three findings have got a correlation with each other. Alright? Different theories have been put up for the cause or the mechanism by which Pierre-Robin syndrome happens, but then the most accepted one says that when there is micrognathia of mandible, obviously there will be deficiency of space for the tongue, right? There will be deficiency of space for tongue. Now what happens is, since there will be no space for the development of tongue, there will be glossoptosis, alright, or in other words, backfalling of tongue, right? Now when there will be backfalling of tongue, the tongue will always be on the upper position of the mouth, and so there will be lack of fusion of palatal shelf, alright, which will obviously result into cleft palate. Alright, I'll repeat. जब भी Pierre-Robin syndrome होता है, as I told you, हमें micrognathia of mandible देखने मिलेगा. इस micrognathia of mandible से के वजह से there will be deficiency of space for the tongue. tongue को develop करने के लिए जगह नहीं मिलेगा, and which will lead to backfalling of tongue, right? And tongue will always acquire the upper position of the mouth, जिसके वजह से there will be lack of fusion of palatine shelves, नहीं होगा fuse, right? And जब palatine shelves fuse नहीं होगा, तो there will be cleft palate, which will occur in patient, right? Coming to the clinical features of Pierre-Robin syndrome. Firstly, मैंने आपको बताया, there will be micrognathia of mandible, right? So obviously there will be small mandible, right? There will be obtuse gonial angle seen. Now what is gonial angle? It is the angle between your posterior border of your ramus and the base of the mandible, right? So that will be obtuse in nature. Thirdly, there will be posteriorly located condyle, alright. Fourth one will be the tongue tends to backfall or glossoptosis. By the way, when the condyle will be posteriorly located, it will give a typical bird face appearance. This is very important. Alright, typical bird face appearance. Now coming back to glossoptosis, when there will be glossoptosis, there will be backfall of tongue, and which will lead to a respiratory obstruction in the patient, right? Now when there is respiratory obstruction in the patient, obviously there will be difficulty in breathing. This is very important. Now the next point is your cleft palate. Since there is cleft palate, see everything is very much correlated. अब जब patient को cleft palate होगा, तो definitely cleft palate के वजह से there will be difficulty in feeding and speech. Patient को feeding problem और speech problem definitely होगा, right? Now this was the clinical feature which we see in a patient of Pierre-Robin syndrome. Next, we'll study about the treatment and prognosis of Pierre-Robin syndrome. See, basically it is a multidisciplinary approach. Since it involves various kinds of parts, so different departments have to come in contact, and there will be a multidisciplinary treatment which has to be done in the patient, right? But the first and foremost treatment, or the concern, the major concern, primary concern will be your respiratory problems, right? Respiratory problem को basically prevent करने के लिए you have to give obturators for cleft, okay? Also still अगर respiratory problem exist करता है तो फिर surgical intervention is to be done. Alright, so this was all about Pierre-Robin syndrome. Moving on to the next topic, which is macrognathia, right? Again, macro is your bigger than normal and gnathia is your jaw. So this abnormality will have a bigger jaw with respect to the other one, right? Then I'll talk about the causes. It basically occurs due to the excessive growth of TMJ, right? जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कि जो हमारा मैंडिबल है उसके ग्रोथ में TMJ plays a very important role. तो इसीलिए basically we see excess growth of TMJ in cases of macrognathia, right? Now macrognathia is also seen in cases of Paget's disease, Leontiasis osseosa, which is a kind of fibrous dysplasia which affects maxilla. Now both these terms, Paget's disease and Leontiasis osseosa, which is a kind of fibrous dysplasia, are disorders of bone. मैं इसको further videos में I'll discuss about both of them. Now thirdly, acromegaly or pituitary gigantism, right? So these are the few cases in which macrognathia is seen. Now when I talk about treatment of this condition, treatment requires surgical correction, alright? Whenever there will be macrognathia, surgical correction will be required. Osteectomy or resection of excess bone has to be done. Alright, so this was all about macrognathia. Moving on to the next anomaly, which is mandibulofacial dysostosis. Now, when I split the word, always try to split the word and then find the answer, right? Now, what is mandibulofacial dysostosis? This is a term, mandibulofacial facial is a term, dis is a term, ostosis is a term, right? Now let us try to split it. It of course involves mandible. It also involves your facial structures, right? Now dis means defect and ostosis is your bone, right? Now when I talk about mandibulofacial dysostosis, it is also known as Treacher-Collin syndrome, right? Now, it is a genetic disorder, right? And the gene responsible is TCOF1 gene. Alright, this is the gene which is defected in mandibulofacial dysostosis or Treacher-Collin syndrome. Now, studies have shown that this gene has been mapped on, I'll tell you, 5q31.3-q33.3. Now, this is the location on the chromosome on which this gene has been mapped and it is defected in Treacher-Collin syndrome. Alright. Also, it is a autosomal dominant kind of trait. Alright. So, this was all about the genetic constitution which is seen in Treacher-Collin syndrome. Now, we will move on to the cause. Alright. Again, I have already explained you, जब किसी भी facial structure पे कोई भी defect देखा जाता है, right? That means जब उसका growth का time था, जब उसका development का time था, तो neural crest cells were absent or they failed to migrate to the specific location. All right. तो इसका cause हम ये जानेंगे कि there was or there must be insufficiency of neural crest cells and reduced number of neural crest cells to the specific location led to mandibulofacial dysostosis. Alright. So this was the cause. Now I'll talk about some clinical features of Treacher-Collin syndrome. Mind you, this topic is very important. Okay. Treacher-Collin syndrome or mandibulofacial dysostosis. Now when I talk about clinical feature of this anomaly, firstly, it will have anti-mongoloid feature with defect in facial structures. Alright. Now secondly, it will have deficiency of lower eyelid eyelashes. Since, see, the word is facial, right? So, face has eyes, ears, now your fat, skin, alright, your parotid gland, alright, teeth. Each and every structure is gonna get defected in this anomaly, alright. So, I talked about deficiency of lower eyelid and eyelashes. You will also see hypoplasia of malar bone, right? This structure will be hypoplastic in nature, alright. There will be deficient development of your malar bone. Now, fourthly, your tooth defect can be present. All right. There will be aplasia of salivary glands. All right. So these are the clinical features which are seen. Also, there will be facial cleft seen. All right. So these are the clinical features of mandibulofacial dysostosis. When I talk about mandibulofacial dysostosis, sometimes the clinical features correlate or are similar to the clinical features of an anomaly called hemifacial microsomia or Goldenhar syndrome. All right. तो हम इस anomaly को भी discuss करेंगे. Now, when I talk about hemifacial microsomia, the word itself says it's hemifacial, that is half the face is affected, right? And microsomia is like small mouth. All right. Now it is also known as oculo-auricular vertebral dysplasia, oculo-auricular vertebral dysplasia. All right. It is sporadic in nature. All right. Now, of course, it's unilateral as the name suggests. Right. Then next is the cause. The cause is said to be defect in vascular supply of head. All right. Goldenhar syndrome or your hemifacial microsomia is basically ये एक ऐसा abnormality है which is sporadic in nature. It affects the face unilaterally and the cause is basically said to be vascular defect in vascular supply of head. All right. Now, this was all about Goldenhar syndrome, which is also an important topic. Now coming to the radiological features. All right. Now we are moving back to mandibulofacial dysostosis. जब आप किसी mandibulofacial dysostosis के पेशेंट का रेडियोग्राफ देखेंगे तो what will be the radiological features? Firstly, you will see there will be defect in malar areas. मैंने पहले ही बोला क्लिनिकल फीचर में कि जो मलार पोर्शन होगा फेस का that will be deficient and the same will be seen in your radiograph, right? There will be defect in malar area and it will be underdeveloped. All right. Now the second radiological feature which we are going to see is there will be non-fusion of zygomatic arches. All right. The facial abnormality will include the non-fusion of zygomatic arches. ये जो आपके zygomatic arches हैं, they will also be underdeveloped and there will be non-fusion of zygomatic arches, right? Thirdly, you will see, of course, cleft palate. All right, radiograph में आपको cleft palate दिखाई देगा. Then you will see hypogenesis or agenesis of mandible. जितने भी आपके facial bones हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं underdeveloped होंगे, तो आपको radiological features में you will get to see that. All right. Then finally your auditory ossicles will be absent. This was the radiological feature of mandibulofacial dysostosis, which we read right now. Now, moving on to the treatment part. What are we gonna do in treatment of such patients? Firstly, I would like to tell you that it is also a multidisciplinary approach which is to be followed. All right. Secondly, if there is any respiratory obstruction, that has to be prevented by obturator or surgical intervention. All right. Thirdly, multiple surgeries is to be done. To correct your eyes, ears, all right, then teeth, mandible, etc. All right. So this was the treatment and prognosis of mandibulofacial dysostosis, and this was all about the defect. We'll move on to the next topic. Now the next topic which is to be covered is facial hemihypertrophy. All right, facial hemihypertrophy. Now what is the word? The word is facial hemihypertrophy. Facial is affecting your face, hemi is half or unilateral, right? And hypertrophy is basically increase in size of cells. All right. Now this is also known as hemihyperplasia. Now this is interesting. Facial hemihypertrophy is also known as hemihyperplasia. Hyperplasia is your increase in number of cells. Now this is interesting to know that this is basically increase in number of cells, but it's a misnomer that we call this defect as facial hemihypertrophy. Actually में जो defect है, it is basically due to increase in number of cells and not due to increase in size of cells, but still we call it facial hemihypertrophy. All right. So what happens is there will be asymmetric overgrowth of, since there is hyperplasia, there will be asymmetric overgrowth of half of the face. All right, half of the face जो है वो asymmetrically overgrow करेगा, right? Then as I told you, it is actually hyperplasia and not hypertrophy. Then it can be seen in correlation with many other syndromes like, firstly, we have neurofibromatosis. All right. Then we have McCune-Albright syndrome. All right. And third, epidermal nevus syndrome. So these are the syndrome in which you can see this defect known as facial hemihypertrophy or hemihyperplasia. Now let us move to the causes. What are the causes of this defect? Firstly, vascular defect has been seen in areas of hemihypertrophy, facial hemihypertrophy. Secondly, lymphatic abnormality has been seen. All right. Thirdly, chromosomal abnormality is present. All right. Now coming to the clinical features of the defect. The first clinical feature which we see is, of course, since it is hypertrophy, since the name is hypertrophy, but then there is hyperplasia, so there will always be enlargement of one side of face. All right. Secondly, there will be unilateral macroglossia. All right. Macroglossia is increase in size of tongue. There will be premature shedding and eruption of teeth. Now this abnormality will have premature shedding and premature eruption of teeth. All right. Now when I talk about oral manifestations, dentition of one side is abnormal. All right. Then it mainly involves permanent dentition. All right. Then, as I told you, there will be premature shedding of deciduous teeth and early eruption of your permanent dentition. All right. The tongue is enlarged unilaterally and the buccal mucosa appears velvety. This is important. The buccal mucosa appears velvety, right, and soft. So these are the clinical features of facial hemihypertrophy. Coming to the treatment part of the defect. Firstly, no specific treatment is to be done. Since it involves the facial structures of the patient, cosmetic repair is to be done. All right. Thirdly, periodic MRI or ultrasound is advised. All right. So that tumors can be ruled out. Is that okay? Now, this was all about facial hemihypertrophy or hemihyperplasia. Moving on to the last topic, that is facial hemiatrophy. The name says there is facial structures on the unilateral side that are atrophied, right? So, the other name of facial hemiatrophy is Romberg syndrome. All right. It is also known as progressive hemifacial atrophy. It is also known as progressive facial hemiatrophy. All right. So these are the other names of facial hemiatrophy, which is very important. Now, giving you some introduction about the defect. What is it? Facial hemiatrophy is basically slow progressive atrophy of soft tissues on half of the face. All right. Since it is hemi, so unilaterally it will be involved and the facial soft tissues will be atrophied in a progressive manner. All right. Next thing is, it includes subcutaneous tissues, fats, all right, skin of the affected portion of the face, also bones muscles, and this is to be kept in mind. All right, all these tissues and structures are involved. Now, basically, as I told you, it is confined to one side of the face. Since it is hemi, unilaterally it is involved, right? Now, one more thing which is to be kept in mind, it is basically localized to neck region. All right, it is basically localized to neck region of the face, and it is also associated with Jacksonian epilepsy. All right, associated with Jacksonian epilepsy, also trigeminal neuralgia. All right, now one very important thing which is to be remembered is studies were done and studies have shown the presence of anti-nuclear antibodies. All right, and then it was said that hemifacial atrophy or facial hemiatrophy is basically the type of localized scleroderma. All right, so whenever we talk about localized scleroderma, we always remember of facial hemiatrophy. All right, so this was all about the introduction of facial hemiatrophy. Now we'll talk about etiology or causes, right? So what is the etiology or the cause? Firstly, a scientist called Wattenberg said that it is the cerebral disturbances, all right, which leads to facial hemiatrophy, right, which results in increased and unregulated sympathetic supply to the tissues. All right, so Wattenberg नाम का एक scientist, he said that the primary cause of this defect is basically the cerebral disturbances, all right, which leads to increased and unregulated disturbances leading to the localized atrophy. The main cause is localized atrophy, right? So the cerebral disturbances, they act in an unregulated manner where the sympathetic supply to the tissue leads to localized atrophy of the tissue. All right, so this was one of the causes given by Wattenberg. Now coming to the second proposed cause of this defect, which is given by Pozzillo. He said that it is due to disruption of stapedial artery. All right, he said that there must be some disruption of stapedial artery which leads to facial hemiatrophy. This was all about the etiology of the defect. Coming to the clinical features, as I said, there will be half of the face which will be affected by the defect. So the first and foremost point is coupe de sabre. All right, suppose this is the patient, this is the eyes, nose, mouth, all right. This will affect the half of the face, all right. So there will be a cleft in the midline which will be very prominent, and the skin will appear bluish in color, and this will be known as coupe de sabre, right? All right. Then thirdly, what will happen is, as I told you, there will be atrophy of skin, subcutaneous tissues, fats, bones, right, muscles. All these things will be affected on the side which is like which has defect, right? Now the next point is, I would like to talk about age. Any specific age in which this defect is seen? So yes, the age in which this defect is very much prominently seen is your first decade of life. All right, first decade of life, and it lasts for about 3 to 4 years. All right, before it becomes quiescent. Now this defect is something like, it will happen, then it will last for 3 years, and then it will be regressive in nature, or it will be in quiescent phase, right? Then the fourth point, now I would like to talk about the gender predilection. All right, now the studies have shown that females are frequently affected in the ratio 3:2. All right, female is to male ratio is 3:2. Now the next point will be, there will be slight predilection for left side of face. In this defect, it has been seen that the left side is more prone to have this defect. All right. Now, coming to the oral manifestations, what are the defect? What are the signs and symptoms which is seen orally, right? So orally, we will see incomplete formation of root, incompletely formed root. All right, then there will be delayed eruption of the teeth, like in the defect which we read just before this defect, right? Usme we saw there was premature eruption of your permanent teeth, right? So in this defect, that is facial hemiatrophy, that was your facial hemihypertrophy, right? ये है facial hemiatrophy, and since ये atrophy है तो definitely हर चीज delay हो जाएगा. तो अब teeth की अगर हम बात करेंगे तो there will be delayed eruption of your teeth, right? Now thirdly, there will be hypoplastic lips and tongue. जो अफेक्टेड साइड ऑफ द फेस होगा, उसमें जो उस एरिया में जो लिप्स और टंग का पार्ट होगा वो भी अंडर डेवलप्ड होगा, वो भी एट्रोफीड होगा. तो इसीलिए दैट विल बी हाइपोप्लास्टिक लिप्स एंड टंग. ओके, कमिंग टू द ट्रीटमेंट पार्ट ऑफ द कंडीशन, नो स्पेसिफिक ट्रीटमेंट इज रिक्वायर्ड. राइट? Also, the differential diagnosis will be Goldenhar syndrome or hemifacial microsomia, right, which we read just now, or post-traumatic lipolysis, right? So this was all about facial hemiatrophy, and this is all for now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any doubts, you can get back to me in the comment section, and also don't forget to like and subscribe the channel and share the video so that others can make use of it too. Thank you.